to mark and demonstrates the lead over Bold Faith. Race 2, that done.
Hello and welcome to Racing World. This week, a successful title defence in South Africa. An exciting finish in Malaysia's Premier Sprint.
Danger diving at it, but Strength and Honor won the cup.
We visit a state-of-the-art stud in Turkey. And celebrate the season's end in Hong Kong. But first to England, where the royal meeting at Ascot had been extended to 5 days in honour of the Queen's Golden Jubilee. Queen Elizabeth and the Duke of Edinburgh were on hand for the feature event on the opening day. The Group 1 St James's Palace Stakes was worth £290,000 or $435,000 US. And the going was good for the 1 mile race for 3-year-old colts. Rock of Gibraltar had won the English and Irish 2,000 guineas at his previous 2 starts and was favourite at 4 to 5. One of 3 runners for Aidan O'Brien, the son of Danehill would try to do what Rodrigo Di Triano could not back in 1992. In fact, it had been 33 years since Right Tack had completed the classic generation's 1 mile Triple Crown. Paul Scallon set a moderate early pace with O'Brien's long shot Sahara Desert. But with a little over 2 furlongs to go, Darrell Holland took over the running aboard German and Italian Guineas winner DuPont in the yellow. Johnny Murtagh then asked the question of O'Brien's other runner, Landseer, in the blue with red stripes. The French 2,000 Guineas winner appeared to hamper DuPont as he drifted in, and stewards would later hold an inquiry into the interference. But this would be academic, as the favourite in red took off a furlong or so out. Rock of Gibraltar ran 140.91 to beat Landseer by a length and 3/4. It was the Colts' 5th successive Group 1 victory, equalling the feat of Giant's Causeway 2 years ago. The result was a stable quinella for O'Brien and his 3rd successive victory in the race. He and jockey Mick Canaan later completed a winning double with Statue of Liberty in the Coventry Stakes. Part owned by Manchester United football manager Sir Alex Ferguson, Rock of Gibraltar has recorded 8 wins and a second from 10 starts and may start in the July Cup over 6 furlongs at Newmarket. On day 2, the Queen and the Duke were joined by their 2 elder sons, the Prince of Wales and the Duke of York. For indeed, the feature race was the Group 1 Prince of Wales's Stakes. The 10 furlong event for 4-year-olds and up was worth £250,000. Ascot was founded by Queen Anne, and the first meeting on the course designed by the Duke of Somerset was held in August 1711. Today, it played host to a veritable fashion parade under a benign Berkshire sun. Danehill filly Banks Hill had won the Coronation Stakes at the Royal Meeting last year, and she would start favourite for Andre Fabre at 7 to 2 with Olivier Pellier aboard. But it was Godolphin pacemaker Sydenham who set a strong early tempo under Jamie Spencer, on going that was good to firm in places. Turning for home, Richard Hills took the lead briefly on Naef in the blue with the white sash, as the favourite in the pink cap tried to stay with him. But then Frankie Dettori pressed the button on Grandira. The colt had won the Singapore International Cup 6 weeks earlier, but was only in the field because Nevers had been disappointing at track work. But he drew away to score by 5 lengths from 25 to 1 shot Indian Creek. Grandera ran 2:4.43 to give Godolphin its 3rd successive victory in the race, following Dubai Millennium and Fantastic Light. The colt was 3rd in the French Derby and runner-up in both the Eclipse and Juddmonte Stakes last season under James Fanshawe. This was his 4th win from 11 starts. 2 days later, there was more joy for Godolphin when Dettori won the Queen's Vase aboard Mahmoud. Grandira is entered for the King George VI and Queen Elizabeth Diamond Stakes on July 27. But connections are still considering the Arlington Million in Chicago on August 17. It was the Duke of Cumberland who revived racing at Royal Ascot with the inaugural four-day meeting in June 1768. Day 3 is Ladies' Day, with another bumper crowd and the best in British fashion. The feature event on a track rated good to firm was the Gold Cup. The weight for age race over 2.5 miles is for 4-year-olds and up and was worth £220,000. Dermot Weld's colt, Vinnie Rowe, had won his last 4 outings, including victory over 1 3/4 at Leopardstown in late May. He was a clear favourite at 5-2 over Godolphin entry Wareed. But it was Persian Punch who set the early pace under Richard Quinn. The 9-year-old gelding was runner-up last year to Royal Rebel, who quickly joined him at the head of proceedings. Third pick, Jardine's Lookout and Rainbow High tracked the leaders before Quinn asked Persian Punch to quicken with half a mile left. It was a battle royal in the straight as Johnny Murtagh went for broke on Royal Rebel in the maroon with the white cap. The 6-year-old gelding prevailed by a neck from Vinnie Rowe in 4:25.64. The 16-to-1 chance became the first horse to win the race in successive years since Drum Taps in 1993. But Murtagh would miss the Irish Derby for the 2nd year running after copping 4 days for excessive use of the whip. Frankie Dettori on third-placed Wareed suffered a similar fate. Royal Rebel has recorded 7 wins and 8 minor placings from 31 starts. Mark Johnson later completed a winning double when Systematic claimed the King George V Stakes. He heads the Trainers' Premiership with 49 winners and took out the Leading Trainer Award for the meeting with 4 winners. Royal Rebel is owned by Peter Saville, chairman of the British Horse Racing Board. Murtagh ended the 5 days with 4 winners, 2 seconds and a third to be named leading jockey. The going remained good to firm on day 4, where the feature event was the Coronation Stakes. The Group 1 race for 3-year-old fillies over a mile was worth £250,000. Gossamer had won the Irish 1,000 guineas at her last start, and she was 6-4 favourite ahead of Dolores at 5-1. But there was plenty of support for Sophisticat, who'd finished 3rd in the French 1,000 guineas on May 12. Pat Edery set the early pace on Red Liaison for John Dunlop. The Selkirk filly had saluted over 7 furlongs at Epsom a fortnight earlier, and her 50-year-old jockey had equalled Lester Pickett's mark of 4,493 British winners the day before. Edery's win aboard Romantic Liaison in the Queen Mary Stakes was his 73rd success at Ascot's Royal Meetings. Dolores had run 4th in the English 1,000 guineas and she took the lead, turning for home. But she was quickly collared by French 1,000 guineas winner Zenda. Many thought Mick Canaan had left his run too late on Sophisticat as he was forced to switch her wide inside 2 furlongs. The Irishman brushed Lady High Havens and was later cleared of causing interference at a steward's inquiry. In a stirring finish, the daughter of Stormcat overcame Zenda by a neck in 1:41.59 to give Aidan O'Brien his 10th career Group 1 victory at the Royal Meeting, just 1 behind Dermot Weld among Irish trainers, making up for the earlier defeats of high-priced juveniles Tomahawk and Marino Marini. Canaan had not only won the race, but was free to ride High Chaparral in the Irish Derby. Champion apprentice in 1978, he's won the Irish Jockeys Premiership a staggering 11 times. Canaan won more prize money than any other jockey in the United Kingdom last year. A $3.4 million purchase, Sophisticat has never missed a place and has won 3 of her 10 starts. With record crowds for the Tuesday and Friday, Royal Ascot had set a new mark for the traditional 4-day meeting. And with 57,700 people through the turnstiles on the final day, total attendance for the week surged past 300,000. The Cork and Orrery Stakes had been renamed the Golden Jubilee Stakes in honour of the Queen's 50th year on the throne. And the 6-furlong sprint was upgraded to Group 1 with a purse of £270,000. Despite 4 millimetres of rain overnight, the going was good to firm, but the feature was hit with 4 late withdrawals. They included American raider Caller 1 with a throat infection and Bahamian Pirate, who was cast in his box after final declarations. Despite a disappointing run in the Kentucky Derby, last year's unbeaten champion juvenile Johannesburg was favourite at 3-1. But despite the urgings of Mick Canaan, the colt had clearly been affected by the spring preparation for Churchill Downs. Johannesburg finished 9th and may have run his last race. As he dropped back, Malhub, in the pink cap, held a narrow advantage over Godolphin entry 3 points, runner-up last year. Pressure was being applied on the inside by Sir Mark Prescott's mare, Danehurst, in the red with a white sash, on her seasonal debut. But Kevin Darley, who'd won the Group 2 Hardwick Stakes the race before, booted Malhub clear to salute by a length and a half. The colt, who'd broken the track record for the distance at Yarmouth a week or so earlier, ran 1:14.34. Starting at 16-1, he recorded his 4th win from 7 starts for John Gosden, who's 7th on the trainers' table with 26 winners. Kevin Darley is 3rd in the Jockeys' Premiership with 44 winners. Malhub, who's overcome 2 wind operations, was one of 3 runners for Sheikh Hamdan. The King Mambo colt is likely to meet 3 points again in the July Cup at Newmarket. After the break, Group 1 action for 3-year-olds in Brisbane.
Coming in